Hey guys, this is Marcus from ml-records.de, and this is the second part of my mini-series about using analog EQ in mixing. So if you want to know how it sounds if you are going to use an analog EQ on your bass or guitar tracks, stay tuned. Welcome guys to my second part, or the second part of this mini series about using analog EQs, and in this video I want to try using my analog EQs on a bass and a guitar track. We are going to start with the guitars, and if you want to know the specs of the EQs I'm going to use, check out the first video of this series. I think I'm going to make a playlist for these videos. And yeah, let me quickly sum up which EQs I'm going to use. I'm going to use a MIDAS 512 EQ. This is the cheapest. I'm going to use a FREDENSTEIN Artistic EQ. And I'm going to use a LINDELL PEQ501a style EQ. So let's jump into the mix. So this is the song we are going to check out in relation to our EQs, and in the first part of the series I've used the EQs on the kick and the snare, and I wanted to start with the guitars first. So what I've done is I've got two guitar tracks, left and right, and I muted the right one and only got the left one and put that in a mono group so that we only can hear one guitar in this track. I pushed the level of the guitars a little so you can hopefully hear what I'm doing with the EQs pretty well. Yeah, let me tell you that I've used the EQs pretty carefully, cause this is a guitar recorded on an Orange Rockverb MK350, and it's pretty distorted already, and I just tried to shape the sound a little bit but avoid to overdo it. So the EQ moves I've done are pretty small and I hope pretty natural. So let's have a listen to the guitar track at first. Okay, I think the guitar tone is pretty good already, but let's see if we can improve the guitar tone a little bit with the EQs, and we are going to start with the Pultec at first. So I let the track play and we'll switch it on and off, and you can see it here when it's on or off. So let's go. Yeah, so this was the LINDELL Pultec style EQ at first, and I only used two bands. So I've pushed the 120 Hertz range a little bit, didn't attenuate anything, and also I pushed around 2K with I don't know, it's very moderate width, and as I mentioned, just a little bit. So these moves are pretty small, but the impact I think is pretty big. So the guitar or the guitar tone is more beefy and more fat, and yeah, for this kind of music I think it's doing a pretty good job. So let's go on with the MIDAS EQ. Yeah, I like this one a lot for the guitar track, because the MIDAS EQ is very versatile. You got 4 bands, you can switch the high and low band to a bell or a shave. You can change the width of the band, and this one is pretty versatile on the guitar, but the highs are a little problematic with this EQ, because this EQ is pretty aggressive. So if you are just turning the knob a little bit, it's going to boost so much on that frequency band that it's pretty hard to set right if you just want to shape the sound a little bit and in a natural way. Yeah, but I liked it, and yeah, let's move on to the third one, the Friedenstein. So let me tell you this, guys. I've got the most problems to find a setting that is working with the guitar I've got with the Friedenstein EQ, even if it's only got 3 bands with a fixed width or Q. But I don't know why. But this EQ wasn't an easy job to dial in the right way for the guitar tracks. But however, I think it's sounding pretty great as well. So let's move over and have a direct comparison between these 3 EQs. Yeah, I'm going to switch between these EQs. I've put it up here so you can see. The first one is the Lindell, then the MIDAS, then the Friedenstein, and I'm switched between them, and you can have a listen which one you like the most, or which one is doing the best job for these tasks. Yeah, let's go. Let's try it in solo. So let's sum this up quickly. You could hear that the darkest settings, for my opinion, I've achieved with the MIDAS. I already explained that I think the highs are sounding pretty unnatural and harsh in this EQ. So it got a lots of opportunities due to the 4 bands. But I don't think this one could be the right for the guitars, in my opinion. I liked the LINDELL PEQ501a a lot more. It's giving some kind of a vintage feel, and the Friedenstein EQ also does a pretty great job on the guitars. So every of these EQs is pretty good for this job. but I think for me the absolute winner is the LINDELL Pultec. And yeah, you can see that you also can shape a sound of a guitar pretty well with a Pultec style EQ. Yeah. Let's move on with the bass. As I told you in the intro, we are going to check the EQs on guitar and bass as well. So let me first show you how the bass sounds in solo. So not bad at all, right? I already pushed the gain of the bass signal again a little over the top, so you can hear the difference, what the EQ does when the track is playing. So let's have a listen how the bass sounds in the mix. So I hope you can hear it pretty well. Yeah, same as we did on the guitars, I'm going to switch the LINDELL Pultec EQ on and off while the track is playing. Have a listen. So the 3 bands are all used. I've pushed around 150 Hz and I pushed around 2 kHz with a pretty wide band, and also attenuated pretty much at the 15K area, so to roll the low end off, the high end off. And in comparison to the guitar, we can go pretty aggressive with EQ on the bass, and I think the Pultec style EQ does a pretty good job here. But let's have a listen to the other two. Yeah, let's move on with the MIDAS EQ. Yeah, I like this one on the bass pretty much. So this is the first time in this series, including the drums, that I think the MIDAS does the best job so far. But let's have a listen to the third one, the FREDENSTEIN EQ, and then we're going to sum it up. So even the FREDENSTEIN with its 3 bands is doing a pretty good job here as well. Yeah. Guys, as I mentioned before, the MIDAS does a pretty good job. I've always tried to focus especially on the mid frequencies, in every instrument, and the 4 bands of this EQ gave me so much headroom to focus on the mid-range as well, because I've got the high band and I've got the low band, and I've got 2 bands where I can shape the mids in the way I wanted to. The Lindell Pultec EQ does a pretty good job here as well, but it's pretty hard to get a good sound with it on the bass without losing too much top end or to sound hollow. And yeah, the FREDENSTEIN EQ does a pretty good job as well, but in the case of the bass, I think the MIDAS EQ is pretty far ahead, and that for only 200 bucks. Yeah, so guys, this was a pretty short video, I hope so, to show you how you can shape the sound of a high gain guitar as well as a bass track already recorded with analog EQs. Quickly summing up, the results of this video are that the Lindell Pultec style EQ does a pretty good job together with the FREDENSTEIN EQ on the guitars, but keep in mind you are only using it pretty subtle, because you can't go too hard with an EQ on an already recorded high gain guitar. That sounds unnatural, and you better get the tone right at the source. But on the bass you can go pretty aggressive, and I've done that, and the MIDAS is a pretty good EQ for this purpose. So if you want to know how these EQs are going to perform on the vocals, you have to check the next video that is coming in a few days, I think so. So thanks for watching. If you like it, comment down below in the comments, or write a comment, or tell me what you liked, or which EQ you liked the most on the instruments. And yeah, till then, see you, bye bye.